Hey everybody out there, Chris here, and welcome back to another episode of the Friday Comic Book Haul. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do last week's Friday Comic Book Haul, unfortunately due to the fact that it was a very busy week. By this time last week, I was out cold. I was out cold a long time. Till Saturday morning, the late part of the morning. And usually I'm up late, and then... Anyway... So this week, we were supposed to just do this week's comics. It was a very short week in comics, and I did not do my free comic book day haul. So this week, we're actually going to be combining the free comic book day haul with the Friday comic book haul. So everything's going to be mixed together. It was a very thin week this week. However, I did make my pre-order for next week, and yeah, I think next week I will be making up for the fact that this is a very thin pile this week. So, let's get into the books for this week. Last book this time for this month at least, Sonic Universe, issue number 52, the last part for this month of the Sonic Mega Man Worlds Collide crossover. Mike has X Factor 256, the grand finale of the Hell on Earth War. Iron Man number 10. I'm hoping that this origin saga redeems a bit of the Iron Man series for me at least. Batgirl issue 20 with the introduction of the ventriloquist. Nightwing number 20, which introduces the prankster yet again, and it's kind of funny. I remember the prankster was a man, and from what I'm hearing from a lot of people, the ventriloquist was a man also. Now they're both females. Irony. Nova number 4, looking forward to reading that. Wolverine and the X-Men issue number 29 takes a peek into the possible future because it's not 100%. And 2 books this week that I normally don't get. First one for me this time is Wonder Woman issue 20. Cindy did not like the Wonder Woman issue I got her, so I decided this is a light week. I'm going to try Wonder Woman. And finally, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 23. The ramifications of what happened in the Venom Wars, which I missed out on. I was not going to jump in on it last minute. However, there are a lot of people vying to somehow get me that series so I can at least read that series. But I will be reading issue 23 before I get that series. So this is a very light week. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books for me, 1 book for Mike. So that's 9 books altogether. It was a very, very light week. Scary light, because we were talking about this on the live show a little bit back. I believe it was about 2 live shows ago, where it's like anything under 10 is like a shock to the system. So this is like a shock that there's so few books. However, digitally, I am reading several books. I read Star Wars, Darth Vader and the Ninth Assassin, number 2, which I think what I'm going to do is when it comes to my digital reviews, I'm going to make note of everything, and then at the end of my comic book review, I'm going to add a little segment where I actually give you guys my recommendations from the comics I read digitally, and then also point you in the direction of my written reviews, which I've already written 2 reviews up. One for Darth Vader and the Ninth Assassin, issue 2, as well as I actually looked into Fanboys vs. Zombies, and I was pleasantly surprised. Anyway, though, now we go into the free comic book day comics, which there's a quite big amount of. I did miss out on a few, and I learned I missed out on even more as I was going through my list of books. I don't know how it happened on Midtown, but apparently certain books that I added to my cart didn't add to my cart right away. They didn't add in, and I had to end up making 3 orders, and even after making those 3 orders, I still was missing Prince Valiant, Red 5 or Red 10. It was 5 or 10. Buck Rogers I missed out on. I missed out on a fair amount of books, unfortunately. However, my good friend Chuck Moore did grab me 2 books that were the only 2 books I thought I missed out on, but apparently I missed out on quite a bit more than I originally figured. Maybe eventually Dark Avenger Inc. will be getting the books by some other means, because this was hard. So anyway, for those of you Archie fans, it was a free comic book day, wee little comic book with Archie. There's also Josie and the Pussycats in here. We did obviously read half of these books already. Some of these books I got for myself, some of these books I got for Mike, and some of these books I got for Cindy, and you guys will know which ones are for Cindy, I'm very sure. Sonic and Mega Man Worlds Collide, issue number 0. I'm going to put this probably in the back of issue 1. This was the prequel. Basically, the last few pages of the Mega Man book and the last few pages of the Sonic book that take place right before Worlds Collide. That's the first one. This actually came out, I believe, the week before. It's DC Entertainment Essential Graphic Novels and Chronology for 2013. Basically a listing of all the important books that you guys should be checking out, depending on which superhero you prefer. They even have Vertigo in here. So, there's that book. I want to actually keep them in top order. So, as I do it, Mike, just take them and put them in a pile next to you because I don't have room over here. I did get the 2 major ones, which was Marvel's Infinity, as well as Superman Last Son of Krypton, which actually was supposed to be called Superman Man of Steel, which I'm actually surprised it wasn't called that. Manga-wise, I did get, well, I don't even know if this is considered manga or vids media-wise, I got the Dragon Ball and Rurouni Kenshin flip book. The Dragon Ball one is to advertise for, I don't know if they're actually going to have it in the, they do, for the June 2013 Dragon Ball box set, which is the first 3 books. I don't know if they're going to be doing that for the whole series. However, I might actually look into it because I am a huge Dragon Ball fan, and it's nice to see Dragon Ball artwork. Hopefully the books will be oversized. And Rurouni Kenshin, there's actually going to be a remake, I believe, of his manga as well. But that's probably in the middle of the book. Yeah, there is. They're redoing his, and his is going to be also in June 2013. Action Time Buddies, which was very interesting book indeed. Star Wars and the Avatar flip book. The Star Wars part was worth the money. I'm putting these books upside down. I got Cindy Tinkerbell because she's a huge Tinkerbell fan. Mass Effect, as well as R.I.P.D. and Killjoys. I hear this book is going for a lot of bazoozus on eBay, and I don't know why. Probably because of Mass Effect. I don't know. Top Shelf Kids Club. Once again, Cindy, as well as the Smurfs. Bongo, because who doesn't want the Bongo? And it even has Futurama on the back cover. Endangered Weapon B. The Tentacles of Doom. I don't even want to know. Gossamer, as well as the Stuff of Legends, it says in the back, so interesting stuff. Stuff of Legends is interesting stuff. I love how I do that. I also got the DC Nation Super Sampler, which has Batman and Teen Titans Go on the back. Was there. Damsel's Mermaid issue 0. Hulk and the Agents of Smash, which is more of a Michael book. Atomic Robo, because every year I end up getting, oh, Red 5, so it had to be Red 10. Because I always end up getting the Atomic Robo book. Aphrodite 9, I believe. Absolution. Judge Dredd Classic. I did get one classic at least. Grimm. Fubar. Molly Danger, which I believe we talked about on the related recap. I did get the Walking Dead book. These were books, there were certain books I made sure were in the cart the first time around. Ugly Doll Comic. The Valiant 2013. Kaboom Summer Sampler. This was for Cindy. The Killer Man, Lamore, yeah, there you go. Valiant Masters, World of Aspen 2013. Yeah, Rush Zone, everybody was talking about it. Steampunk Engines of Oz. This book was very interesting. The Strangers, which was like the only Oni book I got. But thanks to Chuck, I got the other one too. This book I had to get, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, New Animated Adventures. The Tick. Because who doesn't like The Tick? Once again for Cindy, Sesame Street. For myself and Cindy, I got Mouse Guard. This time it's not a hardcover, it's actually a soft cover. And also Rust is the flip book. And then finally I got 2000 AD, the free comic book day version of that. So I figured I'd give it a shot because I hear 2000 AD is a really special kind of book. But I'll tell you guys the truth, I see like 5 different books that come out of 2000 AD. So I don't know if I'll get, maybe once in a great while I'll grab a 2000 AD book, depending. But they sell out pretty fast. And then there's also the Judge Dredd and a few other characters in the back. So that was my free comic book day haul. It was a lot of books. Still haven't read through most of them. Like I said, last week was a huge week. This week was, last week was a busy and huge week. This week is a lighter week, so probably get through these books, and then after doing the review, I'll probably go into some of these free comic book day books. Review-wise for the free comic book day books, mostly it's going to be coming from Cindy. I might do 1 or 2 at some point on Dark Avenger Inc. It just all depends, once again, on the magical factor of time. Other things to note, this past week on Tuesday, Hall of Toys episode 3 went up. Wednesday, the related recap issue 332, where me and Brant started our run on the series, has started. That episode was up on Wednesday. This coming Wednesday is the next installment to our weekly podcast for the related recap. Hall of Toys is every other week, so you guys don't have to worry about Hall of Toys this Tuesday. Comic review should be on time. Reviews for Dark Avenger Inc. I did not review my books for this week because I had a feeling, and I was right, that I wasn't going to have too many books to review this week. So I'm stretching out last week with this week's books as well. So this way I'll actually have some things to review. On Brooklyn Boys 13, we continued our walkthrough of Injustice. I believe we were up to chapter 7. We made it to 7. This week we're shooting 8 and 9. I believe there's 12 altogether, so probably we'll end up shooting 10, 11, and 12 altogether just to finish it off, because I don't want to leave. Well, then again, it's always good to leave the Pendulum chapter for last, so probably we'll do that. Anything else news-wise? Anything else news-wise? I want to make sure I've caught everything. That's, yeah, well, anything I missed, you guys will hear about tomorrow or 2 days from now in the comic review. So, don't forget to check out comicrelated.com for all your comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Awesome stuff going to be coming there. There's a lot of stuff that's being discussed between myself and Brant behind the scenes, and we'll see how that stuff works out. Don't want to give that away just yet, but let's just say this is something that might be coming out of the 90s that actually might work for the 2000s. Well, you guys will see soon. Just relax and take it in stride. You'll hear about it very soon if it comes the way we're planning anyway. So anyway, guys, don't forget to check out DarkAvengerInc.com as well. Right now it takes you to our YouTube channel. We try to give you guys a couple of videos each and every day, so this way when you come back you have something new to watch. You know the drill already. And show your support by subscribing if you haven't already. I love comments. Look forward to Outside the Pages this weekend as well. It's definitely going to go up after this video, maybe before the comic review. Comments are really huge. I love comments, even though I've been a little bit behind on replying to comments lately. Do love them. We'll get back to replying to them ASAP now that the weeks are kind of easing out again. Also, I will be putting the descriptions for most of my reviews up pretty soon, but most of you guys already went through the reviews, so you don't really need the descriptions anymore. I just figured I'd throw that out there just for the heck of it, because a few people asked me about the descriptions. Anyway, guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.